This is First GenXers.
Hello out there in Twitch and TV land, or no, Twitch and YouTube land. Um, I am flying solo tonight. That's right, flying solo, which means we're going to get to some quick subjects, and we're probably only going to run about a half hour tonight. But O'Malley is unfortunately feeling under the weather. Hope you feel better, sister. Um, and so it's just going to be me. And we're going to open up today with a little. Hold on, there we go. Let me get my stuff straight. A little bit talk about the NBA. The last time we talked, the Warriors, I believe, were 12 and 4, 12 and 5, something like that. Um, and we're looking good. Uh, Now the Warriors are not. They're 12 and 7. They fall into fourth in the West instead of first. And yeah, no, it's not that they're doing bad. It's just the loss of DeAnthony Melton is really hitting them. But the best team in the East right now is the Cavs. I don't care what nobody say. Like they started out the season 15 and 0. They've gone three. What they're in their last 10. They're 7 and 3. So they've basically really gone 3 and 3 since going 15 and 0. And I just think they're a team to be reckoned with. I think that they'll get some stuff straight before the playoffs start. I think that Boston Cavs uh, conference final, which we haven't had in a while since LeBron was in Cleveland, I think they'll end up will end up getting that, and I think it'll end up being worth the wait to see. Orlando is really the team that surprises me, especially considering they're 15 and 4, and they're really doing this without Paolo Banchero, one of their big stars. I believe he was their number one pick a couple of years ago, and he should be due back. How do I know they doing it without him? Because I have him on my fantasy basketball team. He's still sitting in my injured slot. And then the New York Knicks out east. Telling you, even though Cat may not be the answer to a championship, once they put that together, Cat's used to playing in Thibodeau's system, so it ain't gonna take Cat long to get adjusted to Thibodeau's system and provide an impact there. Then the top six round out with the Bucks and the Heat. In the West, you open up with Oklahoma City, a young squad that's just savage. I don't know what happened. They were number one seed last year, and they are number one seed again this year. Who knows if they can hold on to it? But they are 7 and 3 in their last 10. Have won 4 straight, including getting a get back against the Warriors after the Warriors beat them a few weeks ago. The Houston Rockets are the surprise team out of the West to me. They had a good squad last year, but wow, dude, 14 and 6. Who saw that coming? I know I didn't. If you did, hey man, you need to go to Vegas because there's some you can do out there. And then that brings us to Memphis, which is 14 and 7, and the Warriors are 12 and 7 right behind them. The Warriors have actually lost 4 straight. They were 12 and 3 at one point. They've lost games to teams that they should lose to, like Oklahoma City, and sorry, it says 12 and 5, but they're actually 12 and 7. Like I don't know what's going on with them right now. The Spurs beat them. The Spurs are friggin' well, they're sitting in 10 seed at 10 and 9, but still, it's the Spurs. And then you want to talk about a surprise team out west. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 9 and 10. Who thought losing just Cat would have that big of an impact on them? I know I didn't. Again, if you didn't, you need to be in Vegas putting money down on games because you could win me. You could win you some serious money if you can predict them like that. The T Wolves are coming off a conference championship appearance next year or last year, and I thought were only getting better. Like I genuinely thought we're only getting better, but hey, the team that went to the finals, I believe last year and the year before that, in the Denver Nuggets, or not Denver Nuggets, yeah, no, they almost went to the finals back to back years. The Denver Nuggets are 10-7, so the West is a beast again, just like the East. There's at least six good teams in each conference. Um, I think looking at the Warriors, I think the loss of DeAnthony or DeAndre, I think his name is DeAndre Melton. The loss of him is huge. Like I said, they lost to the Spurs, the Nets, the Thunder, and the Suns. Like the Thunder and the Suns, I understand because Phoenix is wow. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. That's a squad right there. Um, and the Thunder, I can understand. They're the top team in the West. But losing to the Nets and the Spurs, this team should be at least 14-5 right now. Oh well. Steph's leading the team with 22 points a game, 6 assists per game. He's shooting 40, almost 50% from the field. Team's averaging 116 a game, 49 rebounds. As usual, the Warriors are averaging hovering around 30 assists. I think that this team has to learn. I think Steve Kerr has to come up with new rotations, and this team has to learn how to play together in order to really get you somewhere as far as getting to the playoffs and then doing something once they're in the playoffs. Remember, this team was so deep that they had a perfect preseason. So don't doubt that the Warriors can start looking good again and get back on track. Basketball as a whole, nobody's really running away with anything right now. But let's talk a little bit, y'all, about them Lakers. Oh my goodness, man, it's killing me. It truly is killing me watching what's happening to this squad. Like they have lost four of the last five. The only team that they did beat was the Spurs. All right, nice. Just took a lead in the fantasy football in my money league. Sorry, hey man, got to keep track of them, right? But the Lakers have lost. They're playing the Jazz right now. Um, LeBron and AD can't seem to save this team. Everybody says that it's pretty much garbage past them. I don't know if it's garbage past them, but I do know that like they ain't enough to win it. That combination alone used to be enough to win a championship. Not anymore. They lost to the Magic, who are a top team in the East. They lost to the Nuggets, who aren't a top team in the West, but are a championship level team. They lost to the Suns, which, like I said, Bill, Durant, all that. Uh, they lost both of those games by 20 plus. They beat the Spurs by 18, and then they lost to the Thunder. And I don't know what the score is on the Jazz game right now. Let's see what the score is on the Jazz game right now. Oh, they're up by one in the third quarter. Oh, nope, now they're down by one in the third quarter. But the Jazz are 4-15. The Lakers should be running that game. Like, don't get me wrong, the Jazz are young and talented, but come on, dude. Like, what are you doing out here, Lakers? It's genuinely beginning to look like, whether people like it or not, we are going to end up with a similar last couple of years of LeBron's career as we had to MJ. And you can tell him I said it right here on the classroom that yeah, LeBron. I think the end of LeBron's career is going to be sad. He's not going to be winning championships. His stats may be a lot better than most people his age, but he's not going to be winning championships and being a world beater like he used to be. And I never expected that he was going to, but just saying, all that's talk, you expect to see something better than 11-8. And maybe this team, don't get me wrong, I might be completely wrong. This team may put it together towards the end of the season. I'll say towards the end of the season and end up making the playoffs. My 49ers getting blown out right now. We'll talk about that after the commercial break for a little bit. But yeah, like, like I get it. LeBron, you're old. It ain't no reason to continue going, bro. I'm good. I'm good. So Warriors 12-7 sitting on top of the Pacific. one game ahead of Phoenix, the Clippers, and LA Lakers. Sacramento, what the heck's going on out here? 9 and 11, bros. Like, man, like what the hell? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I like the Kings, but y'all are better than that. Maybe y'all really are just a play-in team. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so we're gonna go on ahead and jump on over to our commercial block. After we get done with the commercial block, we will come back and talk a little NFL football. I want to talk about that Friday game with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Raiders, because I really feel like the Raiders got robbed on that. I genuinely feel like they got robbed. But we'll talk about that after the break. This is Dark Lord 100, AK Double K, K Double, and this is the classroom. Peace.
You got to keep it, keep it. You got to keep it lovely. You got to keep it, keep it. You got to keep it lovely. Success comes right after the struggle. I ain't even giving up on whatever I wanted. The tragedies I've seen, I can't even stomach. Most of y'all weak as shit and would've started running. Every time I make it back to the crib, I'm thankful the Most High let me see all of it. Grateful I'm lovely, and I've been real with this. Please don't judge me, I'ma stay on my shit. I'ma keep a grind mode button, push it, make it do something. No balls for me, cause I'm a loose cannon. I get to choose, camera, switch it up, look up a new banner. Keep smoking on that banner.
We back at it. Yep, we still doing it. Poetic beat. First GenXers. Gia. Let's get it, y'all. Come on. We back in the building. It's been a long time cooking in the soup kitchen. And I'm chilling with the same. Dropping these beats won't stop, nope, I can't. Let me get up in the lab, turn it up. Game on with the first GenXers. What's up? Let's flip on the Switch or the Xbox and get up in my zone, I'm clowning. Let me clear my throat for a minute. Shout out to my folks while I'm in it. It ain't nothing but love, it's babe business. I really don't know what's so who ain't feeling this. And this is only the beginning. Now versus then, this is something for the chillin'. Poetic got the joints like McDonald's. I'm loving it. It's the first gen. We're now rocking with Poetic Beats. This is the first GenXers production. Get your PlayStations out. Get your Xbox out. Get your Switch out. Let's get it in, y'all. Holla back.
They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But the definition of beauty is distorted. Yeah. Come on. Searching for yourself, so insecure about the way you look, so you go to Miami. You can't find the love within
have to say, Jaden Daniels has been fun to watch and getting to see him grow, because I think he is going to be a good quarterback.
Yes.
And so I'm happy that that is one of the Monday Night Football games that actually could be a decent game.
Yeah.
I think I care more about seeing that game, and not just because of him, but I care more about that one than I do the earlier game.
Hello, y'all out there in Radio Land and in Video Land. What's up? It's me, Double K Double, and I'm here to run down for you what the new, as of November 1st, or as of today, lineup is on Live 365. That's right, your place to find all your favorite old and classic 4 Aces Present shows starring myself, The Saint, uh, Mr. Deacon, Ms. Optimism, E Reed, and also your boy Cole with the FU Wrestling Podcast, and also a World of Wrestling Podcast. We'll see. Let's go down the roster of the Monday through Friday. At 12:30 a.m., you will open your day hearing an episode of Now versus Then, followed up at 3:45 a.m. by an FU Wrestling Podcast Classic episode. We finish out our mornings at 6:20 a.m. with a double case classroom, 30 minutes. You get a new episode daily. Then we follow that up with a classic episode of K Double's fifth period music class, the show you love me on. I know y'all be watching, listening, and all that. Let's see. And then now we follow that up at the middle of the day on the East Coast and the late morning on the West Coast with 3 hours of Now versus Then Deuce, including a new episode every Wednesday of the new episodes of Now versus Then airing on Twitch right here. If you're watching this on video. Then we follow that up with an episode of KD5P with a new episode every Tuesday at 12:45 p.m. of KW's fifth period music class from Live 365. And then we get 3:20, we get the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast revisited with a new episode of the Cheap Pop Podcast on Thursdays at 3:20. Let's see, and then we get Now versus Then revisited at 5:30. All of these shows from this point forward, with an exception for the next one, or actually no, just that show is a replay of the Now versus Then from that morning in case you missed it. Then we get West Coast Bias, a classic episode at 9:05 every night, with a new episode of The Classroom every Friday from with me and O'Malley on Sundays. And then we close out every night with a 40-minute edition of Lip Gloss and Mics. That's all right here on the First GenXers Radio Network, the radio network that brings you the classic episodes from 4 Aces Presents Network, radio network, on Blog Talk Radio and on Spreaker. You can still catch us over on Spreaker with the podcast. And lastly, I am Double KK Double. Check out my website, 2kk2network.com, to find everything about my network. And I'll see you guys there. Peace. All right, what's up, y'all? And I'm back. All right, so here we go. Last time I hipped you to what was going on Saturdays and Sundays right here on Live 365, and now I'm going to hip you what's going on Monday through Friday. So now I'm going to hip you what's going on Saturday and Sunday. We open up each Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 a.m. with a classic episode of Mr. Deacon's Experience, followed by at 2:40 a.m. Classic episode of Ms. Optimism Speaks. We follow that up with a classic episode. Now, mind you, this is both on Saturday and Sunday. The days don't break apart till a little bit later. But you at 5:15 a.m. you get a classic episode of Brick in a House. Then you can follow that up with an episode of Reality Radio. Then at 10 a.m., as usual, she will stay in the same spot. We got Sam Brett with a classic episode of Sam Brett Radio Roulette or some other Sam Brett related show. We'll follow that up at 12:10 with Mr. Deacon Revisited again. Probably play the same episode from earlier in the evening. Then you're going to hear Lovely Radio at 2:45. And then that's where things kind of change up. On Saturdays, after Lovely Radio goes off the air at 4:50, at 5 o'clock, you have KD5P, K Double's fifth period music class, where I bring you music from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the double aughts, whatever type of music you like to listen to, especially if you're Gen X. Then we close the night with a 2 hour, 45-minute episode of the Cheap Pop podcast from back in the day with myself and Alpha, and that will close out our evening. On Sundays, after you hear Lovely Radio, at 4:10, you'll hear an episode of The Classroom from Spreaker, the 45-minute episode version of that show. You'll hear 5:30, the episode of Dirty Talk 101. Yeah, sorry. And then at 7:40, you get an episode of Cheap Pop Podcast Revisited, and then we close the night out with an episode of the Sidebar at 10:10. So that'll do it for Live 365 and everything that we have going on there. I hope you guys have truly enjoyed this, and we'll keep bringing it to you. Live 365, First GenXers Radio Network, Voices Presents, whatever you want to call us. We're here, we're live, and we're not going away. Peace. All right, and I'm back. What's up, y'all? Y'all probably didn't seen enough of me between all the stuff with this morning, doing the stream and then doing the cheap pop and now this. But this closes out our night as far as streaming. This evening, the next stream will be Rune Scryer tomorrow afternoon with the football game Murder Bowl or something like that. So yeah, and then me tomorrow night with Madden and College Football 25. All right, so let's talk a little bit about those Thursday games. They were all really, really interesting as the Lions dominated the Bears in the first half, but the Bears made a run late that made me regret not starting Keenan Allen in my fantasy football league, god dang it. But the Bears made a run that ended with the Lions barely squeaking out a victory over the Bears at home, 23-20. The Cowboys were the midday game, with them facing off against the Giants, a game I thought the Giants had a chance to win, being as bad as the Cowboys have played recently, but I was wrong. Completely wrong. Nice. 12-2 this week on my predictions, and this will be 12-3 with the Niners losing tonight. But hopefully I'll be right tomorrow about Denver. But we'll see. But yeah, so I expect the Cowboys to lose it, but the Cowboys played well. But it was against the Giants, who recently, for some random reason, decided to just move on from Daniel Jones, giving him 200. Like I think he counts like something like 40 million in dead cap money on their cap this year. With them releasing, I don't know how his contract worked, but they draft the kid high up in the draft. Everybody tells them you're drafting this kid too high. They're like, no, we love Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the savior of the Giants. And then, yeah, it doesn't happen. He loses a game to Cooper Rush. No. I forgot who they lost to last week, but yeah, that evidently was the end of it for the Giants front office, and they moved on from Daniel Jones despite the dead cap hit, if there was one, and then they proceed to lose and give the Cowboys their first victory at home all season. The Cowboys were 0-4 up to this season. Now, I'm not even going to get into the Cowboys because the Cowboys, just like the 49ers, have suffered an unreasonable amount of injuries that just has derailed their entire season, including the Cowboys losing Dak Prescott. Like, yeah, it's not the year for the quest for six for either team. The Packers, on the other hand, coming off a ass whooping of the Niners last weekend, took out the Dolphins 30-17. That Packers team is dangerous. Don't get it twisted. Like, they're up there competing. Like, both them, like, I want to say Minnesota is now 10-2, and the Packers are 9-3. Like, I don't know if they got to play each other again this year, but if they do, that's going to be one epic game, 100%. And then the Raiders-Chiefs game. I don't know. There was a meme floating around the internet about that game, about how the refs handled the ending of that game, and I don't like it. Like, it looked like it was like it should have been called a false start on the center, and that should have been what it, like, even when you went back and watched the video, it looked like it should have been a false start on the center, which would have given the Raiders the ball still with an opportunity to kick and win the field goal or kick the game on a crossing field goal. But instead, the refs turned it into from a false start to a legal shift and let the fumble stand. Something about that. Something about that. Kansas City been winning too many games when they shouldn't. I'm not even talking about the Niners game. I'm talking about the last 2 weeks. They really should have lost to Carolina and the Raiders. They really should be sitting at 9-3. But it is what it is. Then you go into today's games. There were some good ones, some really good ones. At Pittsburgh and Cincinnati one was good with Pittsburgh coming out on top 44-38. The Cards and Vikings was epic with Sam Darnold throwing a game-winning touchdown to Aaron Jones in the last couple of seconds for them to beat the Cardinals 23-22. The Colts doing the same thing with a 2-point conversion with Anthony Richardson to beat the Patriots because they needed the win to even compete for the playoffs. The Seahawks sitting on top of the division 7-5 after dropping Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. The Commanders get back on track after losing, I believe, 3 straight. By stomping the Titans 42-19. The Commanders, hey, what's up, Saint? Or Agent K28, how you doing, brother? Want to say the Commanders, man, like, they friggin' scored on their first 4 drives of the game. I saw that. They were 4-4 up 28-0. The Texans had an epic one that the Jaguars almost made a comeback in. Trevor Lawrence got knocked out of the game and came back in. Everything's good here. What's good with you, brother? How you liking that things out there in Vegas if you're still out there? The Rams gave us an epic one, getting the 6-6, and then really the Panthers should have at least 2 more wins. They should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs last week. They should have beat they should have beat the Buccaneers this week. A late fumble, just damn. Chuba Hubbard, too. And he let me down for fantasy football, too. I was kind of hoping he was going to be able to produce something for me. Lastly, the Eagles show. They about ready to get back to that Super Bowl again. 10-2. They just ran over what some consider coming into the season to be the best team in football in Baltimore Ravens. Saquon Barkley looks to be the same type of big pickup that Christian McCaffrey was for the Niners a couple of years ago. And, man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. It'll probably end up being the Eagles and the Lions in the conference championship game. I'm telling you, mark my words, man, those 2 guys or those 2 teams are on a collision course. And when it happens, ooh, buddy, it's going to be one to watch. I'm not a fan of either, but I will definitely be tuning in for that. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for me here. Y'all know what's going on. If y'all are watching football right now like me, y'all know that the Niners are just getting stomped by the Bills. It's halftime. They're down 21-3. They tried. They just ain't the team that they were last year. And they won't be until they get completely reset and they can come back next season. So I'm not writing the whole season off. I still believe with the weakness of the division, the Niners might still be able to make the playoffs if they can go on a run the last 4 or 5 games. At this point, if they lose here, they'll be 5-7. So that's 12 games. They still got 5 left. They can still finish the season 10-7 and win the division, but it's going to take some miracles to make that happen. So, all right. Other than that, we got the Monday night game tomorrow, which will be Browns and Broncos. The Broncos are up and coming at 7-5. Bo Nix should be like the top guy for Rookie of the Year. Him and Jaden Daniels should be battling it out. And the Browns, I don't know, like they've won a couple of games. I could see them like getting back to and finishing like 8-9, going on a decent run. They got a good quarterback in Jameson Winston, and they got a couple of good players on that defense and Myles Garrett and them boys. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. This is a winnable game for the Browns, but I think the Broncos are going to get it done. I just hope they don't beat them up too bad because I started Cleveland's defense. Fantasy football all the time. This has been Dark Lord 100. Sorry I can't bring you the same fervor and magic that we have when we have Omalley on the show, but she'll be back next week, hopefully. And if not, you'll get me again. But other than that, like I said, you can find me next tomorrow night at 8 p.m. right here on Twitch TV with College Football 25 and then Madden 25. I'll be playing for revenge this game against the Bills with the 49ers. And that'll do it. Y'all have a great evening. Stay up, stay real. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.